My family expected me to raise my sister's child while she pursued her career. I stood my ground and cut contact. Hey Reddit, before we dive in, just a quick note. We're working super hard to bring you the best stories out there. So hit that subscribe button and help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers soon. Let's start the story. I'm a 42-year-old man living in Oak Ridge, trying my best to raise my teenage daughter while maintaining my career as an architect. After my divorce 3 years ago, I've settled into a good rhythm with Lily, my 15-year-old. Life wasn't perfect, but we had found our balance. My relationship with my mother has always been respectful but distant. She lives across town in the older part of Oak Ridge, where I grew up. We see each other at holidays and occasional family gatherings, but she generally respects my boundaries and stays out of my personal affairs. My younger sister Rachel, now 28, has always been the ambitious one in our family. While I settled for a modest architectural firm in our hometown, Rachel pursued loftier goals: international business, startup ventures, and a cosmopolitan lifestyle that made my suburban existence seem pedestrian by comparison. Despite our differences, I admired her drive and determination. Everything changed when Rachel announced her pregnancy 6 months ago. Initially, my mother called me, voice trembling with excitement about finally having another grandchild. But within weeks, the tone shifted dramatically. Rachel wasn't thrilled about the pregnancy, viewing it as an obstacle to her burgeoning career. My mother, who had always preached about family values, surprisingly encouraged Rachel to continue with the pregnancy with vague assurances that, "We'll figure everything out." I should have recognized that "we" included me in ways I never consented to. After Rachel gave birth to a baby girl, my mother invited me to her house for what I thought would be a normal visit to meet my new niece. When I arrived, Rachel sat in the corner looking exhausted and detached while my mother took center stage. On the coffee table sat a neatly organized stack of papers, adoption forms, guardianship documents, and a detailed outline of expectations. My mother explained their solution with shocking casualness. I would adopt Rachel's baby so she could accept a prestigious job offer in Singapore. According to my mother, since I was already raising a teenager, adding an infant to the mix wouldn't be that big of a deal. The audacity stunned me. My mother spoke as if rearranging human lives was as simple as switching furniture between rooms. Rachel barely participated in the conversation, occasionally muttering about being too young for motherhood and needing to focus on her career. Her eyes never quite met mine. I tried reasoning with them, suggesting alternatives like extended family support or proper adoption channels, but my mother dismissed these ideas with a wave of her hand. "It's your duty as family," she insisted, painting me as heartless for refusing. My thoughts went immediately to Lily. We had only recently found stability after the divorce. The idea of suddenly introducing a newborn into our household, not as an uncle helping temporarily but as a legal father, was unthinkable. When I firmly declined, the situation escalated quickly. My mother accused me of sabotaging Rachel's future. Rachel called me narrow-minded. I left with a pounding headache and a sense of dread that turned out to be well-founded. The following weeks brought incessant phone calls, emotional manipulation, and increasingly desperate tactics. One evening, my mother appeared at my doorstep with the baby in her arms, suggesting I try it for a week to see how simple it would be. When Lily overheard and asked if we were getting a new baby, the reality of how this would impact her hit me with full force. Meanwhile, Rachel posted veiled complaints on social media about family letting her down, prompting relatives who knew nothing of the real situation to message me with judgment and criticism. None of them, I noticed, volunteered to adopt the baby themselves. The situation reached its breaking point when my mother and Rachel ambushed me in the parking lot of my office building. With Rachel holding the baby and tears streaming down her face, my mother created a public scene, declaring that I was the only one who could save my niece. Colleagues walked by, staring at the uncomfortable drama unfolding. Later, I learned from a sympathetic cousin that my mother was telling family members I had verbally agreed to take guardianship of the baby. Alarmed by this fabrication, I consulted a lawyer friend who assured me they couldn't force me into adoption without my explicit consent. Lily began asking if we were safe from Grandma's stunts, and seeing her anxiety settled my resolve. I drafted a final message to my mother and sister, stating clearly that I would pursue a restraining order if the harassment continued. Their responses were vindictive and accusatory, but I held firm and blocked them on all communication platforms. The severing of ties was painful but necessary. Some relatives, once they heard the full story, were horrified by my mother and sister's manipulation. Others continued to parrot my mother's twisted narrative that I had abandoned my niece. As weeks passed, Lily and I gradually reclaimed our peaceful routine. I heard through family channels that Rachel took the job overseas, possibly leaving the baby with a caretaker, or pursuing adoption through proper channels. While I worried about my niece's welfare, I recognized that I couldn't rescue her from a mother who viewed her as an inconvenience, or a grandmother willing to manipulate others to achieve her ends. Occasionally, relatives attempt to update me on my mother's continued campaign against me at family gatherings, but I've chosen to protect my mental health by remaining disconnected. I changed my phone number and limited my social media presence, sharing my new contact information only with trusted friends and family members. The sense of peace that returned to our home has been worth the painful separation. Lily has flourished without the constant tension, and I've come to terms with my decision. While part of me aches for the little girl who didn't choose any of this situation, I know that sacrificing my daughter's stability and my own well-being wouldn't have solved the underlying problem. My sister's child deserved parents who genuinely wanted her, not an uncle coerced into fatherhood through emotional blackmail. And Lily deserved to maintain the stable home life we'd worked so hard to create after the divorce. Family relationships should be built on mutual respect and understanding, not manipulation and entitlement. Sometimes the healthiest choice is to walk away, even when cultural expectations and family pressure push you to sacrifice your boundaries. The family I have now, small as it may be, is peaceful, loving, and secure. And for that, I have no regrets. In Oak Ridge, where everyone knows everyone else's business, I occasionally see my mother at the grocery store or local coffee shop. We pretend not to notice each other, two strangers who once shared a home. It's a small price to pay for the tranquility Lily and I have found in our life together.